Seen as an underutilized economic asset that had been filed for abandonment, Clark County began purchasing sections of the Chelatchie Prairie Railroad in 1984. The final piece was acquired in 2000 for a total cost just under $2 million. Clark County is one of the few local municipalities in the U.S. to own a railroad. Initial track construction started back in 1888 with the aim of eventually connecting with Yakima, Washington. Falling short of that goal, today the track spans 33 miles, nearly running the length of the county. It connects with the BNSF Railroad in the southwest at Fruit Valley and ends in the northeast at the old Chelatchie Prairie lumber mill.
The intent was to improve economic development for Clark County, bringing family wage jobs to the area. Typically, anything that's associated with a rail operation does bring good family wage jobs to an area. It certainly increases our tax base and makes it more conducive for us to be a more stable economy all the way around.
As will happen over time in numerous owners, sections of the track were dated and worn. To improve opportunities along the corridor for freight movement and economic development, the county embarked on upgrading the infrastructure of the system.
All the funding that has come for the track upgrades has come strictly from grants that have been authorized by the state of Washington, totaling just short of $2 million. That went into all new tie upgrades and ballast upgrades, surface line and dress of track, and addressing some drainage issues. And that was from where we tie in at Fruit Valley with the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway up to about milepost 5, which is between 78th and 88th Street.
As part of the track upgrades, there were also public safety improvements at road crossings. Recently, the county received another $2.4 million in state grants to improve the railroad from milepost 5 to milepost 14 in Battleground. These enhancements will bring the county closer to allowing the freight operator, Portland-Vancouver Junction Railroad, to move more freight containers and increase the speed at which they are able to travel, which is regulated by the Federal Railroad Administration.
It becomes cheaper and more cost-effective for not only the shipper but also the end user. The other part of it that makes it unique and why you want to try to develop the rail line itself is you're taking trucks off the road. To the equation of every rail car that's moved on our rail line is removing 3 trucks off the road. And so it's reducing road impacts, saving on upgrades and improvements to our roads, and certainly helps the traffic throughout Clark County.
While freight traffic on the Clark County Railroad has slowed with the downturn of the national economy, so far, in 2010, almost all of this loss has been made up. Also, within the last month, 2 new businesses have located along the Clark County Railroad to utilize the freight services.
Beyond that, we have expansion opportunities going on. We have Anderson Plastics expanding into Brush Prairie, and we also have Omega Industries, which is going to be expanding on St. John's. All largely in part to what we've put into the infrastructure so far, showing that we are really making improvements that make it more conducive for them to take more advantage of the freight operation.
All of our plastic comes in on rail. Each car takes 4 trucks off the road, and we go through currently about 5 cars a month. We currently run 2 plastic plants in Battleground, and both are at capacity, and so we just purchased a building in Brush Prairie where we plan to open our 3rd plastic manufacturing plant. Probably employ anywhere from 21 to 30 new jobs. The rail is just vital to our operation. There's a cost difference from having it trucked in to buying it in bulk in rail that's pretty substantial.
Construction has begun on the upgrades from milepost 5 to 14 and should be completed by this winter. The county is currently seeking new grants for future improvements. These include laying down a heavier rail and increasing storage yard capacity for expected demands. The long-term goal is to upgrade the system to Yakult and eventually Chelatchie Prairie.
It's a long-term investment, and I think when you look at a road typically is usually redone in about a 30-year cycle. Railroads are based on a 100-year cycle. Rail, if you get a brand new piece of steel on top of your ties, you can physically run 50 years on one side of that rail, simply transfer the rail side to side, and then you have another 50 years of use on them. Ties, you'll probably change out 3 times over the course of that 100 years.
Bringing family wage jobs to the area is an integral part of the county's 20-year comprehensive plan. By the county investing in rail infrastructure, the hope is that commerce along this corridor will thrive and expand.
There's a lot of property still out there that's available, that's adjacent to the railroad that we can develop. Some of it needs to be rezoned, but we have a lot of it that is zoned properly for light industrial purposes and some for heavy industry. And we just need to be smart of how we put the industries in, where we put them in, being respectful of our community. But I would like to think that we have pretty much unlimited opportunity.
For more information on the Clark County Railroad, visit the county's website at clark.wa.gov or call 397-2323.